Let's be real. Has algebra ever felt like just a bunch of random letters and numbers with no point? Well, we are going to change that right here, right now. We're about to take a super quick journey to see how algebra leaps from the classroom page and lands right in the real world of making a profit. Okay, let's get into it. So here's the game plan. First, we'll see how algebra is kind of hiding in plain sight in your everyday life. Then we'll lock down the essential rules, grab our algebraic tools, use them to solve a cool little puzzle, and then, the best part, apply everything to a real business problem. It's a quick trip from the basics to the boardroom. Okay, first up, algebra is everywhere. Before we get into the how of it all, let's talk about the why. Seriously, why does this matter to you? Well, you might be shocked to find out you're already using it, probably without even realizing it. Think about this for a sec. You walk into a bookstore, you've got a certain amount of cash in your pocket. How do you figure out how many books you can actually walk out with without your card getting declined? That little bit of mental math you just did, guess what? That was algebra. You're basically setting up a little formula in your head to solve a problem. The cost of a book times X, the mystery number of books, has to be less than or equal to your budget. See? You're an algebra pro and you didn't even know it. All right, now let's get down to the fundamentals. To solve these kinds of problems, we have to know the rules of the game. We'll start with the rules for integers, which is really just a fancy way of saying all the whole numbers, positive, negative, and of course, 0. First up, adding. When you've got different signs, the rule is super simple. Just find the difference between the two numbers, and then your answer takes the sign of whichever number was bigger to start with. For example, let's say you have -9 plus 6. The difference between 9 and 6 is 3, right? And since 9 is the bigger number and it's negative, your answer is -3. Simple. Now, for subtraction, there's this awesome little trick. All you do is change the sign of the number you're subtracting and then just follow the same rules we just learned for addition. So, check this out. 5 minus -3. We just flip the sign on that -3, making it a positive. So the problem just becomes 5 plus 3. And that equals a nice, simple, +8. Multiplication is maybe even easier to remember. If the two numbers you're multiplying have the same sign, so two positives or two negatives, the answer is always going to be positive. So what about a -7 times a -9? Well, those two negatives basically cancel each other out, giving you a +63. Done. Okay, we've got the rules down. Now it's time to open up our algebraic toolkit. These are the 3 main techniques you are going to use over and over again to play with and simplify expressions. The first tool in the box is substitution, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. You take a variable, like our good friend x, and you swap it out for a real number that you know. It's how you get to a solid final answer. Let's see it in action. Our expression is 2x plus 5. Let's say we know that x equals 3. We just pop that 3 right in where the x was. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5 gives us 11. It's really that straightforward. Next up, expanding brackets. This is all about what's called the distributive property. It's a simple idea, really. You just distribute the number on the outside of the parentheses to every single thing on the inside by multiplying. Look at this example. We have 3 times x plus 4. We just share that 3 with everything inside. So 3 times x gives us 3x, and 3 times 4 gives us 12. And boom, our new expression is 3x plus 12. And our last tool is factorizing, which is literally the exact opposite of what we just did. With this, you're kind of reverse engineering the problem. You look for what the terms have in common, and you pull that common piece out to the front. So if you're looking at 6x plus 9, you ask yourself, what's the biggest number that goes into both 6 and 9? Well, it's 3. So we pull that 3 out front, and then we figure out what's left inside the parentheses, which is 2x plus 3. Okay, your turn. Time for a quick pop quiz. Go ahead and pause this for a second and try expanding this expression using that distributive property we just talked about. I'll wait. So let's see how we can use these tools to solve an even bigger puzzle. We're ready to find the value of some unknown x. But what happens if you've got 2 unknown variables to deal with? How does that work? Well, one of the most powerful tricks for that is called the elimination method. The whole goal here is to cleverly add or subtract 2 equations from each other so that one of the variables just, poof, disappears. It makes the whole thing way easier to solve. It all comes down to this 4-step process. So imagine you have two equations, like x plus y equals 10 and x minus y equals 4. Step 1, the coefficients are good. Step 2, we add them together. The plus y and the minus y totally cancel each other out, so we're left with 2x equals 14. Step 3, we solve for x. If 2x is 14, then x has to be 7. And finally, step 4, we substitute that 7 back into our first equation, so 7 plus y equals 10, which means y has to be 3. And just like that, we solved for both. And now, the grand finale. This is where we bring everything together. This is the moment algebra stops being just numbers on a page and starts actually making some money. All right, let's talk business. First up is revenue, which we'll call R. This is simply all the money a company brings in from selling stuff. The formula couldn't be simpler. It's the price of one thing, P, multiplied by how many you sold, Q.
Next up is cost, or C. This is all the money going out. And it's made of two parts: fixed costs, think rent, things that don't change, and variable costs, like the materials to make your product, which go up the more you produce.
And at last, the one everyone cares about, profit, or P. This is your bottom line. It is simply your revenue minus your cost. This one little equation, P equals R minus C, is what drives pretty much every business on the planet. And here is where it all clicks. Look at this example. A company sells 100 items. By using our substitution tool to plug in the price, the costs, and the quantity, they can calculate with 100% certainty that their profit is $700. No guesswork, no hoping for the best, just algebra giving them a concrete, real-world answer. So, what do you say? You can totally solve this now. You've got all the tools. Just take the price, subtract the variable cost, multiply by the number of units, and then subtract out those fixed costs. What's the final profit? This right here is how algebra gives you the power to find real answers.